A little while back, Xiaomi debuted a new line, the Redmi Pro. About a month back, we unboxed this phone here on C4eTech, and I've used it as my primary device for well over a week now. In this video, let's take a close look at how the Redmi Pro fared, if this is a phone worthy of your consideration. But before we get to all that, if this is your first time here, or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, this is C4eTech, and you're watching our full review of the Xiaomi Redmi Pro. Let's get started. Xiaomi's done well with the build here. It kind of feels like a Redmi Note on hand, the overall device footprint, given that the Redmi Pro sports a similar sized display. Anyway, the build quality feels solid, the brushed metal look to the back, the chamfered edges, the curved glass to the front, they give the Redmi Pro a premium look that the Redmi series has never quite had in the past. There's a dual camera setup to the back along with a dual tone dual LED flash. The fingerprint scanner is located to the front here with the Redmi Pro, and other similarities with the Mi 5 include the capacitive keys being backlit dots and the physical home key also doubling as a capacitive key. So you can just touch the key for home instead of having to press it. Having said that, the fingerprint scanner is still passive. You need to press the key to turn on the display, scan your finger and unlock the phone. It is quite fast and accurate, and I faced no issues with it in the time that I spent with the Redmi Pro. Despite the inclusion of a single-handed mode, I ended up using the Redmi Pro with both hands quite a lot. Given the 175-gram weight and the 5.5-inch display it sports, I didn't really expect the Redmi Pro to be optimized for single-handed usage, and it isn't. But this phone feels more solid in hand than bulky. Like I said, Xiaomi has done well with the build here. Anyway, talking about the display, in a first for Xiaomi, the Redmi Pro is sporting an OLED panel here. The resolution is Full HD, and that, when spread over 5.5 inches, results in a pixel density of a little over 400 pixels per inch. So it's quite sharp, the viewing angles appear excellent, contrast is good thanks to those deep blacks, and the colors are okay, at least with the standard mode. With the contrast mode, like I said in the unboxing, this display kinda resembles Samsung's first generation AMOLED panels. Very punchy and inaccurate, kinda warm as well. Anyway, overall the display is fine here. Underneath the hood, well, there are three variants of the Redmi Pro. Three storage variants. The 32GB variant is powered by the Helio X20 chip and has 3GB of RAM. The other two variants are powered by the Helio X25 chip and sport 3+64 and 4+128GB RAM storage configurations. So here we have the 10-core Helio X25 chip with 3GB of RAM and 64GB of onboard storage. Note that the Redmi Pro does feature a hybrid slot and can take either two SIM cards or a SIM and a microSD card, so you do get an option to expand storage if you want to. Anyway, the Redmi Pro held up well with gaming. The performance was smooth, but at times I had to turn the performance mode on for the gaming experience to remain smooth. And when I did turn the performance mode on, the Redmi Pro got a little warm, not enough to worry about, and the performance remained good. It's just worth noting. The audio via the internal speaker was loud enough, and the audio via the 3.5mm headphone jack was decent. I experienced no issues with cellular reception or call quality either. This phone, even with the Chinese firmware, has support for GeoVolt by the way. Anyway, all this is backed up by a 4050 mAh battery, and the battery life was good. Good, not great. Before I explain, you need to understand that going into this review, the Redmi Pro felt quite similar to the Redmi Note 3, similar sizes, similar capacity batteries, so I went in with expectations of similar, if not better battery performance. But that isn't quite there, at least not yet. I could get through a day of moderate to heavy usage on a single charge with no issues. That's more than what I can say of even some flagships out there. But this is no Redmi Note 3 when it comes to battery performance. With the Redmi Note 3, I could push it to 2 days on a single charge if I was being a little meticulous with my usage. That's not something you can do with the Redmi Pro. So anyway, the battery life is good, just not Redmi Note 3 good. And remember, Xiaomi phones generally get better with time, so it should improve. Moving on, let's talk cameras. The Redmi Pro sports two cameras to the back, a 13-megapixel primary camera and a 5-megapixel sensor to capture depth information. So you can swap the aperture or focus points before or even after shooting. We've seen this with HTC and other brands in the past, but what is unique to Xiaomi is the fact that the aperture options are available with video too. Not great video, but it's there for what it's worth. Anyway, let's take a look at how the primary camera fares. Under good lighting, there's ample detail, the dynamic range is acceptable, the colors are good, and thanks to the f2.0 aperture, the depth of field is quite shallow. And of course, you can make that shallower with the second camera. The results are a bit of a hit or a miss, they just get blurred at times. Under low light, the performance falters. There's quite a bit of noise, the colors are still good, but overall, the detail level's mediocre. The 5 megapixel front-facing camera has an 85-degree wide-angle lens and does well for selfies. The rear camera can shoot 1080p videos at 30 frames per second and the quality is quite good. Decent colors and ample detail. I'm happy to state that the focus hunting issues from the Redmi Note 3 do not return here. If you want more information, do check out our dedicated camera review of the Redmi Pro. I'll leave a card. Next up, let's talk software. The Redmi Pro runs on Android 6 Marshmallow with Xiaomi's custom MIUI 8 on top. And we've seen and talked about MIUI 8 a lot, so I'm not gonna get into that right now. Xiaomi keeps the software experience uniform across their devices, so do check out this video that I'm leaving a card to here on what's new with MIUI 8, and that's it. The user experience here is great. The Redmi Pro is quite responsive and snappy, whether it's launching apps or switching between them, it's all done quite quickly. Memory management for the most part was okay. With regular usage, most apps were held in memory with reloads happening very occasionally. And then we get to pricing. The three variants of the Redmi Pro are priced at $1499, $1699 and $1999 yuan respectively. That's about 15, 17 and 20,000 rupees or 225, 250 and 300 US dollars for my international viewers. Of course, the Redmi Pro isn't available in India or for that matter anywhere else out of China yet. So if you do want to get one, you'd have to import it. I got mine from Banggood.com. I'll leave a link to Banggood in the description below along with a discount code. Do remember the prices will be a little higher when purchased via a third-party seller like Banggood. Anyway, for the price, Xiaomi has put together quite a good phone with the Redmi Pro. Is there room for improvement? Yes, with the cameras, with the battery optimization, with memory management, with the color accuracy of the display, that definitely is room for improvement. But despite that, for the price, the Redmi Pro seems to be more than a decent offering from Xiaomi. At least that's what I feel. Do you agree with my conclusion here? I'm not saying go ahead import this phone, but if it were to launch in your markets at around this price, then it is definitely a phone worth considering. Anyway, if you agree or if you don't, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I guess that's it for this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, vote it down if you didn't, and for more videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. So thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ashia from C4E Tech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.